up guys, I'm here with a new video today. So this is like take 3 of me filming this because the second video I did was dark. Now I have enough light for me to do a perfectly filtered or perfectly normal video. So as you all know already, it's Saturday and now the new Charm episode is out on the CW app, and I already watched it twice so I can get so I really know what's happening and stuff. So if you see me stop talking, that means I'm pacing myself and I'm catching my breath, because if I just talk, because I'm not talking fast, but if you hear me talk fast, I'm trying not to talk fast so I won't have to lose so much losing my breath while I'm doing this. So let's get on with the review. So we see a recap of what happened in the previous episodes, and after that we see in the attic Mel, Maggie, and Macy are in front of Harry, but it's not Harry. He said that his name is James Westwall, his friends called him Jimmy, his grandma called him Spork, and his one-sided girlfriend probably called him an arse, and he doesn't know anything. And then Macy's like, he doesn't remember anything. James is like, remember what? Mel's like, witches, demons, and lighters, and he ends up scoffing like he thinks they're crazy. Macy asks Harry and James what was the last thing he remembers. He ends up thinking, and he leans in a little bit close to her and said that he remembers one thing, but it's a phrase, and he said 47 parasite, something like that. And Maggie says the same thing with a question mark. She asked James to give them more. James like, no, I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to be taken hostage by a group of girls. He tries to leave, but eventually Mel's like, that's not Harry. The girls turn around, says a spell, like a barrier spell, where it stops him. He touches the barrier, finds out that it's shocking him, and he turns around asking who they were. And then we see the girls going down to halfway to the dining living room, saying that he doesn't remember anything, and that is there anything to get his memories back. Macy said that she possibly read that there's a lost memory spell that she can do that. She goes back up to the attic. Maggie's wondering how they're gonna figure out what the faction's doing. Mel's like, I probably know someone who can help. Maggie's like, who? They go to Seattle and finds out that Mel's talking to their dad secretly. They talk about it, and out of nowhere she gets a panic attack where she's like, I'm happy for you and stuff, and she's like saying she can feel her skin burning or something's crawling up her skin. And Mel's like wondering that it might be like a magical virus or something. And then it led to the point where Maggie was like, facing towards Mel, saying that she thinks she might be dying. She hugs Macy, and then back at the attic, we see James trying to break out the barrier, but eventually he doesn't succeed. Macy says that if he wants his memories back, he's gonna have to do magic, and he's like, yeah, potions and stuff. Macy's like, Harry, you're a good guy. You save and protect people without asking or without a hesitant. She's asking Macy if she trusts Harry. She said yes, and of course James is trying to ask her where what, and she's like, a team. And she turns back to the blue glue she was making for the spell. She puts it on her one hand palm and then puts some on her fingertips on the other. And she said that I need to put this on you. He's like, no, I want you to do it or something. And she's like, do you want to get your memories back? He said, yeah. And she's like, can I trust you that you won't escape or run away once I let the barrier down? He said yes, to the point where it sounded like he was gonna, that he was like lying, where he is gonna try to escape. And so Macy ends up like moving the trunk to the other side of the room with her telekinesis or something like that. And it kind of scared James a little bit, where she said, okay, do it. And she lets down the barrier. She only like slightly touches him, and he moves back a little bit, but then realizes that it's not gonna hurt him, and he just stands still. Macy rubs the blue thing on his forehead, saying the spell, but eventually it backfires to the point where it made her flew to the wall, and then she goes down to the floor, and then she gets back up. James is asking if she's okay and stuff. She ends up collapsing to the point where she is unconscious, and now we see like one part of her lost memory that we didn't know she had, that she didn't know she had. And she's singing at a karaoke bar or something, and she's dancing, and then after that it shows that she's like turning around to the point where we finally see Macy unconscious. And then we see her save Seattle, and just a heads up, I might not get this like in order or remember some things of what happened in the episode I'm talking about, part of the episode I'm talking about, but it's the least I can do. So we see at the command center, Maggie's like saying that she felt like her skin was crawling or burning. Mel asked if she touched any potions or got contacted anything of the magical virus or something. She said no. And then Mel gets a text from Ray asking for their ETA, and Maggie says something, and then Mel ends up going to like the sort of remote kind of way to go to the location Ray's at. It says Cancun, Mexico, and Maggie's like, Cancun? And Mel's like, classic Ray. She walks up to the portal, but for a millisecond she looks back at Maggie, and she probably feels bad, and she leaves in the back of the attic. James is trying to wake up, or no, we see Macy back in her lost memory, where after she's done singing, she bumps into one of her classmates, and he said that long time no see. She's like, yeah, like from this morning in class, and he said that he liked her performance, and that she got a little freaky, and he slaps her butt and asks her to twerk for him. She's like, did you just? And then she's like, never mind. She turns around. She asks for a shot, and of course, the guy ends up putting his hand back on her butt, put his other hand on her shoulder, and said that you're uptight. Listen up a little or something like that, and then walks away to someone else that he's gonna talk to. She ends up getting mad, and she's like, don't you ever touch me again or something like that. And fire came out of her hand, flew to his shirt, and it burned him. And of course he put it out, and he asked what happened. Then back to Macy's unconscious body. She's like, what is happening and stuff. And while that was happening, James was rubbing off the blue goo off her, and of course he's like, wake up, and he ends up saying that I'm not gonna let what happened to you be pinned on me. And he's almost out the door, but then he turns back for her wallet, takes it with him. He he walks fast down the stairs, and he finds money in her wallet, puts it in the back of his pocket. Then he finds a picture of her and him, and then there was this like dresser standing in front of the stairs with a picture frame with the picture of him, Mel, Maggie, and Macy. He looks at that and he knew that he can't leave or something. He goes back up, and then eventually we see back at the command center where Mel and Ray comes back, and Ray's like, every time he goes to the portal, he gets him every time. Mel's like, Ray, and Maggie goes to Ray. Ray's like, hey little bug, I miss you. She's like, I miss you too. And Maggie asked Mel what's that, like the poster board she was opening. She's like, it's a list of things that their dad was searching on and stuff. And of course they talk more on that. And then Mel tells Ray that Harry told them about 47 parasites or something, and Maggie's like, it's probably not that. It doesn't look like that. And of course, the two are at the table with the board thing, and Maggie was talking about how there's nothing in Brazil or something, and Ray's like, telling her that the people there are good at hiding where they're at and stuff. And Mel's like, okay, let's do this. Maggie's like, I'm gonna sit this one out. And Ray's like, you're feeling sick again, or feeling a little fever? She's like, yeah. And then they leave, and then back at the attic, we see James coming in, saying he's asking himself if is he getting soft, and he sees that Macy is bleeding. He's like, oh no, and then he gets the rag that had the blue glue on and wiped the blood off. And then we see back in Macy's lost memory that we see her at her dad's house in New York, and she's trying to like wash off the burn or the flame or whatever, and her dad ends up getting upset with her, yelling at her, or not like yelling at her, just like, you know, talking to her. And she's like, Dad, and he's continuing saying no and stuff. And then she sits back down on the couch, or she just sits down on the couch, crying. The dad stops being upset with her and asks her what's wrong. And, or he's like, Macy's like, there was this guy in her class that was talking to her in a different way, and of course her dad wanted to know more on that, but Macy's like, it doesn't matter anymore. She said that she got so angry where fire came out of her hands, and she asked her dad if she was crazy. Her dad's like, no, you're not, you're probably just drunk and you just need to go to sleep. And of course before that, she tells her dad that he'll probably think she's drunk and stupid. The dad's like, no, he doesn't think that. He's always going to be on her side, even if he's upset. But then after that, she sleeps, and like a few minutes later or something, she wakes up to her dad having a phone call with someone, and she didn't know who it was. And she could hear him she can hear her dad telling the other person on the other side of the phone that it happened, that he or she needs to get down there to help Macy. And then after that, we see back at Seattle, where Maggie's in like the shop trying to get like this breakable kava thing, probably for her tea and stuff. But she eventually has another panic attack to the point where she's almost gonna lose balance and stuff, and eventually it led to her dropping the kava, and I think it's kava, but Jordan got there in time to grab it, and then he puts it back where it was, helps Maggie, sits down, and he tells her to breathe, 1, 2, 3, and then breathe, and he's talking about panic attacks and stuff with her, and it led to her saying that she appreciates his help and stuff, but and she said something after that. I forgot what she said, and she walks away, and we see her at the command center where Mel and Ray comes back, and she's like, didn't find anything, and Mel's like, don't want to talk about it, and Ray thought something was for sure there, but then they go where Maggie is. Maggie's like, what if Harry wasn't sure what if he was delirious? What if he was hearing 47 parasite something, but instead he heard 47 Easton something, and she talks more about the building and stuff. Ray's like, good job, little bug. Maggie's like, I'm not little anymore. And Mel and Ray exchanges looks like they're wondering why Maggie's acting weird, because she is sort of like acting like something's wrong, to the point where the two didn't know what was happening. Then back at the attic, we see that Macy's like seizing or something, but before she did that, Jordan calls, and of course James didn't know what to do. He just takes it out of her pocket, and he ends up answering it without knowing how to answer it. Jordan assumes it was Macy that answered it, but then James like, hello, by screaming and stuff, and he's like, Harry or something, and then he ends up telling James that something happened with Maggie, but she just stormed out, thought that she was with Macy, because before Maggie gave like sort of like an off stuff, she declines Jordan's call. So James was like, there's this lady, she's co-pervasive or something, and Jordan knew that Macy was seizing. He tells James to put her on her side, and he'll be there, and he takes his first aid kit, and James like, hurry up. He puts Macy in his arms, and Macy then back in her lost memory. We see that Macy's dad brings her to the couch and said that whatever you do not, and he repeats it twice, do not like pull down or take away this sheet. And then Marisol comes in. Marisol talks to Macy, and of course Macy's like, do I know you, or who are you? And Marisol's like, oh sweetie, no you don't, but for 20 years I hope you did. And she said that she's her mom. Macy looks at her dad. Her dad gives her the nod that it is her mom. And then one thing led to another. Macy was like screaming, sort of like screaming, and was gonna go hug her mom or something, but she was gonna take down the sheets, and Marisol had to like hold it. The dad had to stop her, said Macy no, and then Macy's like, Dad, no, don't keep her away from her. And Marisol's like, Macy, you gotta whatever and stuff, and she's like, you gotta not do this the next time. It's life and death matter. It's the necromancer's rules. Because Macy was asking why all this time after they just met or something, she can't even look at her. And then they talk to the point where Marisol sticks out her hand between the sheets and holds Macy's hand, and they talk. And then after that we see Mel, Maggie, and Ray in 47 stuff, and so, and they walk down the road, and Ray talks about the dam, and that it kind of reminds them of this like thing in the game, and Mel's like, yeah, it is. Maggie's like, what game? And Ray talks about it, and then Maggie ends up having another panic attack, saying that she didn't know that they had a game and stuff and whatnot. Mel's like, um, the, their dad just introduced it to her, and she just started playing. And Ray sees two guards. Ray tell Mel and Maggie that they had to move fast so that they wouldn't spot them. They did that. And then back at the attic, we see Jordan coming up saying Harry or something, and Harry's like in here. Jordan tries to like help Macy, but then James was like, she stopped seizing or something. I think she's dreaming. And then back in the lost memory, Macy and Marissa are still talking about whatever that they needed to talk about. And then Marissa lets go of her hand. Macy was like, Mom, where are you going? And Marisol said that they would see each other again eventually. And then Harry appeared. And of course, his orbing sounds like a brighter flashlight, or at least that's what it showed when he came in. Marisol whispers to Harry that Macy can't remember any of this and stuff, and do not hurt her or something. And Harry says okay, and then Macy, sorry, I keep mixing this up, it's happening. And Harry's like, hi Macy. And then after that, he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I give you my word, I'm not gonna hurt you. And of course, after that, we see back with Mel, Ray, and Maggie. Maggie's still like getting mad, and Maggie's like she's having a panic attack and stuff because Mel asked her if it was like potions and whatnot. She said no, it's panic attacks. She just got it today. Ray's like no, and then he asked Maggie if she remembered Dr. Gordon, who was a friend of their mom's, and Ray explained that it was therapy, but they didn't want her to think it's therapy because of what happened, because she stopped going to school because of the divorce, and she started hyperventilating to the point where she blacked out or something. And then Maggie's like, that's it, that's why and stuff. And she's like, and then Mel's like, it's not the time, Maggie. Maggie's like, it is the time. And she's like, for her entire life, everyone around her kept secrets from her because they didn't think she was too strong to take it and to deal with it. And she said that for all her life, she has been lied to that she wasn't raised. She tells Ray that she tells Ray that it sucks that his wife cheated on him and had a kid with him, and whatnot. And she said that being that kid was hard for her because growing up there was missing pieces in her life, and the only one person that was supposed to help her or would help her fill in those pieces was not there. And she said that Dexter was gone, her mom was gone, and all that's left with her is Ray, and that him and Mel was having like beefs and stuff, and Mel's like apologizing for that and stuff, and then she messed up. But then at one point Maggie was like, me, I forgot what she said before that, and of course she had like pink flashy light or whatever coming out of her, and then it like swished to the two guards, made them mad at each other and knock each other out. But while they were doing that, Mel was trying to say Maggie's name twice. Maggie's like, what? Mel tells her what happened. She asked what happened. Mel was trying to explain, probably she was telling Maggie that her bottling up all the anger and just finally letting it out, mixed with her new powers, end up happening that Ray gets back up, stands up, and tells Maggie that they need to get in there to find out what the faction is doing and stuff. But after that, when they get back home, he can help her fill in the pieces. She said she nod, and then they run to like this door entrance. Mel uses her powers to burn the pin pad to where it surges, like, lights up or whatever. And they go in. After that, we see back at the attic, Jordan tells James that he needs to heal her. Takes his arm and tries to heal her. He's like, heal her. And of course, Jordan is like, you don't remember anything. And of course, at this point, James was freaking out, and Jordan tried to do something. He takes off his jacket. He ends up like doing this against her chest to keep her stable. And while that was happening, then James bends back down on his knees, and I forgot what he was saying, but then Jordan realized there's something behind his ear. He asked James how long has he had that, or how did he get that. James did not know how he did, and Jordan mentioned that the faction must have put that in you and stuff when they had you, and James was like, the faction, and Jordan's like, they probably put a magical blocker behind your ear and that must have backfired the spell to Macy. And then he takes out like his surgical knife or something, I think that's what you call it, and he holds it in front of James and tells James that Macy needs help and stuff, and she needs magic, she needs you. And of course, James freaks out or is shocked a little bit, and he's like, I beg your pardon. Then back into Macy's lost memory. She talks to Harry and stuff, and then Harry was about to like do this to wipe her memory, but before he did that, Macy asks what's his name. Harry's like, you can call me Harry, and then he does it. And then at this like position of when Harry did that, we see James do that, and he's like trying to tell Jordan no or something, and they both see that Macy is losing air or something, and Jordan tells that he has medical something, and James knew that he had to save Macy no matter what, so he tells Jordan, okay, do it before I change my mind. So he lays down on the couch, and then after that, before we see what happens about that, back at the dam, we see the three walking the hallway, and then they walk in another hallway to the point where they got busted by someone who probably worked there, and he asked, what are you doing here, why are you here, or how do you get there? They had to come up with a lie, but one part that they said was true, which was Maggie's first part. Maggie said that the front entrance and stuff in the demo, where he's like, yeah, we're here to see about the dam, and they're not impressive. Then after that, the guy leads them to this room, and the guy does this eye scanner, and they're wondering what they're gonna see. Then there's like shutters open, and they see out in the water. Then they end up seeing all the pods that has like magical creatures in there. They freak out. Then the guy said, isn't it beautiful? Then back at the attic, James is screaming while Jordan's trying to get the chip out. He finally got it out. And then James ends up like gasping to the point where he's finally remembering everything. And then at the last point, finally after he remembers everything, Harry's like, Macy. He rushes fast to Macy's aid. He ends up doing this in front of her face, and he's healing her. and he's like, come on. And then Macy gasped and said, Harry, and they hug, and then they get back up. Macy tells Harry what she knows, and she asks Harry what's the last thing he remembers, and what is Mel and Maggie getting into. And of course, he freaks out that because he remembers something, and he's like taking Macy by the arm, saying, and of course Jordan's still there, and he tells Macy, we gotta find your sister and stuff. They try to orb there, but it didn't happen. Harry's like, they probably put more of that green thing in him than is possible. Then back at the dam, you see cars coming. Of course, we see a guy coming out. Didn't know who he was until we hear that the room that the girls and the two girls and Ray was in was getting a lockdown. The guards comes in, and the bodyguards come in, and Julian comes in. And then Julian's like, Maggie, what you doing here? And of course Maggie still had that face that she had when she was like sort of cold towards Ray and Mel earlier ago. And she's like, I would like to ask the same thing of you, but as always, young or handsome billionaires are always evil. She turns around with Ray, also Mel. She drops the black bar or something. They go into the portal to the command center, and they're already in the command center, but then before the stuff disappears, or at least the midst of it, Julian ends up looking to the other side, and he's questioning. He's like, Macy. And then in the command center, Maggie's like, Macy was right, Julian is a part of this. And then Mel was like, Julian knows what we are now, where the command center is in Seattle. Of course, they knew anytime soon they would come busting in and stuff. And then back at the attic, we see the sisters talking about the lost memory Macy had. Macy was saying that probably some of the things she was wrong about. I think that kind of dealt with their mom and stuff. And then Maggie was like wishing that they knew what Harry was back then. Macy describes how he looked or how he was back then. She said that in her darkest moments, he has always been there for her. And then Mel's like saying that maybe the reason why their mom wiped away Harry's memories so that he wouldn't he wouldn't end up having to tell you what happened and stuff. And then Macy was like, maybe their mom knew her and Harry were. And then Maggie was like, destined. And Mel's like, speaking of destiny, they talk about Julian stuff, and Maggie was like, he's probably gonna come to the command center with this magical army. And of course, after a minute of that, Macy ends up talking. She's like, if that's the case, then we're gonna have to work to bring him down. And of course, before she said that, Mel said that they need to save the world. Then now after that, we see Ray waiting for Maggie in her room, looking at this college book. They both talk about her mom and everything else. And Mel is like by her door, hearing them laugh and stuff. She's happy. And then Maggie's like, you're going soft, or are you going soft? And they laugh. And then we see in the patio backyard, or just the backyard, Harry's just leaning against one of the gazebo's legs, and he's drinking what I think is white wine. I think it's white wine. I don't know for sure. I don't know. My wine's perfectly good. And we see Macy coming out. She closes the door to where Harry can hear her, but she puts down her coffee cup. She's dancing. Of course, Harry turns around, and asks what she's doing. She said that she's dancing, and then Harry walks to the other side of the gazebo, the table, saying that spell did a number on you. You might have a concussion. She said, "No, Harry. I have clarity, and I don't want to wait for the right time for something to happen." And then Harry has like this like wondering face, or I don't even know what face he had on, but it was like wondering or curious kind of face. And he's like, "What do you want?" Or I think he said, "Then what do you want?" And Macy's like, "I want you to bring your butt over here and dance with me." And of course he's like shockingly happy that she's like assertive, telling him what she wants. And then when he sees her smile, he ends up smiling. He just takes one step, puts his wine glass down on the table. Then he walks towards the front of Macy. He looks up at Macy and then down at Macy's hand that she sticks out for him. He takes her hand. Then he puts his other arm around her, and they're dancing for like possibly a few seconds. In, we see them looking at each other. Then they kiss. And after that, we see Harry spinning her, or just spins her, and she laughs, and he's smiling, and then they're laughing and smiling and hugging. And then after that, the episode ends. So, overall, this is a really good episode. Like, it's like really good to know what is happening more with the Shield group experiments or something, and more on Harry and Macy. And now we can stress less over when are we getting the hasty kiss, because we already got it and it was perfect. Like, I mean, yes, we love the kiss and we finally got it, but our favorite moment, I hope your favorite moment also was the spin, but my favorite moment was the spin and them laughing together about it, or probably like that. But yeah, other than that, it's a good episode. Positively was shocked to find out that Julian was a part of all of this, like literally. And honestly, Rupert Evans directing this episode, the way he directed it was amazing. It still shocks me today, like how was he able to, like, well, at least just only for this episode, how was he able to direct Harry and Macy's first kiss? Like, that's really impressive, and he really directed a really good episode, and hopefully we'll get to see more of him directing more episodes to come, whatever episode he's directing, because honestly, he is a good director. He is good at directing a really good episode. That's why I love this episode. And other than that, his work is amazing. And yeah, like, hopefully the next episode that's coming around, possibly May 1st, hopefully we get to see how did they get Elder Celeste to come back to help them figure out how to save the world, how to stop Julian and his people from letting the humans take advantage of the magical world and whatnot. Hopefully we get to see more on that. And then we did reach somewhere where there's a twist in Harry and Macy's relationship. Hopefully we get to see more on that, because I hope it's not bad. I hope it's like a good news or something. But I mean, we can't hope for the worst or anything, or think of the worst. We just gotta wait till the episode comes out to know more on it. So yeah, the episode's really good. And before I make this any longer, because it's possibly getting longer, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to always be notified, because weekly videos are coming out. They're just slow because I'm trying to figure out ideas what to film. And if you want to follow me on my social media journey, other than following me on my YouTube journey, my main Instagram and my YouTube's Instagram, my Snapchat and my TikTok will be down there in the description. And on the same day I'm uploading this, because today's Saturday, the April 18th, when I film this, record this, I'm gonna make my second Twitter, my YouTube channel's Twitter. So hopefully in the next video I put it in the description for you all to see it and follow me on it. I'll follow back, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.